gamers! Welcome back to a special episode of Red Seal Roundup. Special episode. We have a special guest, but we'll start with me, Dan, the Primarch of RSG. Got my buddy Sal.
Long live the Empire.
My buddy Chris.
Hello, everyone.
And my buddy Kristoff.
Hey, everybody.
Ktoff of X-Wing fame has
X-Wing fame.
Yes.
graced us.
You have X-Wing fame. It's X-Wing fame.
Graced us with
man.
his presence, and we are going to grill him.
He's our first
I'm gonna get
guest,
cooked.
right?
First
that-
guest
first
in the
guest.
new
First,
studio.
like, guest host. Like, yeah, that's right. We
exciting.
had, like, replacement hosts when Sal and I were on
Yeah, well, I
vacation.
think
This is our first guest we've interviewed.
This is like a
so-
guest.
yeah.
It's like an
Some
interview
would say
process.
better hosts, but that's all right.
Some would say better.
I feel that was you and Way, right?
Yeah, and
that
those,
was
and
fun.
those are the only two people that said better hosts. Way and Chris. So thanks for joining us, man. I really
honored.
appreciate it.
I'm honored to be the first
well,
guest of the new,
Yeah, we're honored to have somebody on here that's actually legitimate instead of us remote hosters.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so it's going to be a little bit of a Q&A session. We're going to grill you. We gave you some of the questions.
Yes.
Some
Oh,
of them,
not all of them, though. Oh,
No,
man.
because we want to
think on my feet.
try to make your face change color as much as
Oh,
possible.
my God.
We
Dan-
got a vomit bucket next to you in case we get... Yeah.
Yeah. Dan's definitely got the curveballs, so that he's got all the curveballs in
That's-
his book.
That's my job, and they'll develop as you answer. It'll be like it'll give me more fuel to the fire.
Yeah, oh my God.
So I guess we'll start with
Good luck.
the
Yeah,
opening
well,
Good
question
luck.
of the,
Godspeed.
Asking
Yeah.
you, Ktoff,
Yeah.
the first question on
Yeah.
how did you get the name Ktoff? Where did you, like a lot of times when nicknames, we have our way of giving nicknames in our little
Yeah.
group, and then nicknames are formed other ways or just little short
And
abbreviations.
gamers can be brutal.
Yeah.
So
It's always interesting hearing other people's stories about how they got their nicknames. But Ktoff is essentially my full name is Kristoff, spelled like the character from Frozen. And my friends back in the day, especially when I was a kid, they would call me Toffee or Toff. And then I just basically shortened the Kristoff to Ktoff is what it was.
Okay.
Toffee, that's a good one.
Toffee.
My first girlfend called me Toffee or Toffee Cakes.
Oh,
Well,
toffee
that's-
cake.
Oh.
Ooh, toffee.
I hope my wife doesn't watch this
Wait,
one.
let's
Like,
go.
who was
We
that?
like wait, hold on. Toffee cake.
Yeah.
Toffee
And now
Cakes.
I think
So the
Baron's writing these down as well.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
Extreme.
Don't give Baron more
Barrett has
fuel.
fun nicknames for me. Well, they all have fun nicknames for me too. I mean, you guys have seen it. On
Yep.
We
Oh,
have
we-
Topicals.
well,
Topicals
he
is
said
another one.
All right, there he goes.
The GSP feed's going by, and I'm just like, whoa.
He said it. Yeah, we didn't want to repeat it, so you actually said it. So we're good. We actually trapped you into that quicker than I thought we were
damn it.
going to.
That's awesome.
Falling for
But
the
these
trap
names
card.
will be written down, and when I do play you in the league,
You're gonna be like,
I'll be calling you.
Topicals.
You'll be Toffee Cakes.
Toffee Cakes.
He's going to pass some cards. Yeah, read this.
I'm playing against Toffee Cakes.
Right. So that's your name, Chris. You want to hit him with one?
Well, I always ask because we all come into gaming from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So not necessarily just board gaming or hobby gaming, but what was your first introduction to the gaming sphere in general, whether it's video games or maybe small board games? Well, how did you get into
it? Started off with video games. So I grew up in around like the Denellen area.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but 8 on the Break is one of those arcades from back in the day. It's actually still open till this day.
Really?
It's like a landmark. Like
When are we going?
I mean, you guys want to go? They
Yeah, I would totally.
still have their cheesesteak special. That's still only $4.
Oh,
and
wow.
you get fries, a drink, and these amazing cheesesteaks.
All right, I'm sorry.
We'll go.
Podcast
Wait,
over.
all right, here we go. Let's
Digressing,
go. Let's break.
digressing.
Let's break.
Thank you for
back.
thank
We're
you for
done.
viewing.
First interview, we're already going
already
everywhere. So when I was a kid growing up, there's a Filipino. I'm Filipino. There's a Filipino Phil-Am market there where we get like food and stuff like that. And I would always go in there, pop in for like a game or two, and I just fell in love with fighting games. Fighting games were my primary thing when
Street
growing up as
Fighter
a
and the
kid.
like.
Street Fighter, Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur was the main one that I competed in when I was younger in high school and college.
Competed.
Yeah.
Competed.
I played in like tournaments and traveled a bit. Not like crazy amount because I was like in college and not
Yeah.
that much money, but like
Yeah,
around New Jersey, New
enough.
York area.
More so than just your local places.
Right, exactly. So like the fighting game scene and the arcade scene is what got me into gaming in general. You know, when I saw how people, like the level that people could take a game,
Yeah.
I was like, oh crap, if I
Yeah.
put like my time and work into that, I can do stuff like that. And lo and behold, like I kept at it, and like that's kind of how like my work ethic in terms of gaming and even just in real life kind of sprouted was from there. So yeah, like
What's video games?
arcades, yeah, video
All right.
games.
Awesome.
Video games are good for you kids.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, I'm a little on the older side, but that din of an arcade is still one of my favorite sounds.
Oh, it's the best.
I actually have a couple of YouTube videos that, like,
Yeah.
if I'm modeling or something doing home, one of those things that puts me in a happy place
Mm-hmm.
is just like, hearing Berserk in the background, hearing asteroids in the background,
Yep.
Space Invaders. Dun,
Space
dun,
Invaders.
dun,
There's no
yeah.
better sound than putting the dollar in the change machine and getting the coins
Yep.
come out
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you know you have four really good games.
Four really
coming
good
up.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
And I love putting the quarter on top
Yep.
of the thing. I
Make
got
it-
next.
You
you
pass
know?
that
Then
tower
you
and
would
they're
make
all
like
lined
a whole,
up.
You make a
Yep.
pyramid,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You make a pyramid. Dragon's Lair, I used to make a pyramid on the top. And like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here all day, kid. Back,
Back up.
Going to go
I had
back
a-
in the line.
go play Afterburner.
I had to show Lucas the Neo Geo systems that used to be
Oh,
in the
the
store,
SNK stuff?
and you used
Yeah.
to choose the games were on top, and it was
Samurai
always
Showdown,
Samurai
Metal
Showdown. Oh, I had to show him all the battles from Samurai Showdown.
Okay.
Jubei and
Jubei. Hamaru.
Hamaru and it's such a good game.
Yeah.
And a great game system. I mean, like I knew one person who owned the Neo Geo home system.
Yeah,
Like it was like a giant VHS thing. The tape used to go in.
They were
Ka-chonk.
huge. It was huge.
It was
at that
huge.
time.
And supposedly, never saw it happen. You were able to take that's the first system that had a removable drive. You can go to the arcade,
And
and there
save
was a
your games.
port in there. And I never saw anybody do that because who owned? I knew one person owned the Neo Geo. But yeah, the din of the arcade.
Yeah, it was
Is-
a great sound. So he actually started digitally to
Yes.
get into gaming, which is I think different than the three of us who were more of the physical.
More of a-
Right, you
aspect
guys
first.
like
Old
playing
farts,
D&D.
yeah,
we
old
were,
farts.
I mean, we were digital gamers.
Right.
It's not that we weren't, but that wasn't our introduction. So. My question is, so when did you take it from digital to the tabletop?
Yeah, what was your
it right
first?
into X-Wing, or was it board games, or a
So
miniature
it's-
game?
Right. It started off in board games. So actually, I went with one of my friends. We had we hung out one night, and he's like, "Oh, you guys want to play this game?" Me and my girlfriend were playing it. This is back in college.
Okay.
It's called Catan.
Oh.
Shoot up. Shoot. We had beers. We were like, let's play some board games and have alcohol. That sounds great, right? So
mix,
that's
good
what
mix.
started. That's what started. I was like, oh my god, this is so much fun. Like,
yeah.
I didn't know how crazy this could get. So our group of friends, started to have board game nights, and we started trying other games. And then to the point where in 2018, this is the first PAX Unplugged that we went to, because we're like, oh, they have a board game convention.
Also fairly recent then.
Yeah,
Or
fairly recent.
2018.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
okay.
only really started getting into board games and tabletop games 2018. I have friends who played tabletop.
Okay.
And I guess we'll get into that later because
Yeah.
X-Wing kind of started a little before then.
Yeah.
But so we went there and then got into. That's how I got my major big introduction to the bigger board game thing, and
everything
eventually
that's there.
X-Wing. X-Wing was actually where I got reintroduced to X-Wing in 2018,
Interesting.
which
Catan's a good game.
Catan was
It's
a
like a
good
great
Well, it's
intro
gateway
game.
drug.
It's the intro for a lot
Yeah.
of people in the store.
It was our Risk. It's the current game.
Our
when-
Risk, our Stratego, even
Yeah.
maybe something
Yeah.
like our Axis and Allies.
Well, Axis and Allies. I'm sorry.
Right?
That was the
Yeah.
real first miniature
Real,
war
like,
game,
hardcore game.
which was
Risk was like a step above Monopoly, right? And
More or
those games
less.
could go just like Monopoly.
Yeah.
Those games could go 2 days, right? But Axis and Allies was hardcore rules, not just my dice beat your dice. There was a lot more going on.
Yeah, I
It's
remember
a lot
pi-
more strategy
Yeah.
and stuff.
I
going
remember
on,
pissing
too.
off quite a few college roommates with having Risk games that went to 2 or 3 in the morning when they had to get up for an 8 a.m.
Oh
class.
my god!
we're staying until the war's over.
I was never a very good roommate.
No.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
My question is, how did you form the KFC? Your crew stands for Ktoff's Filthy Casuals,
I know.
correct?
No,
Seems kinda
that's not what
self-deprecating.
That's not what I was told. I was told it was Ktoff's Filthy Cheaters.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
We'll talk about satanic rituals
Wait,
later.
Let me change this. Hold on. Wait. It's actually Ktoff's Filthy Casuals. Oh, I didn't know that. Let me update that.
Oh.
So how did KFC form? Where'd you meet all the guys like Baron and all the
So
other guys?
Baron and Tom, Mark, who's one of our other guys, those core group of guys I've known ever since high school.
Okay.
Yeah, I've known them for a long time, and pretty much everything that we play we get into together. So essentially what it is.
Group effort.
Yeah, group effort.
Just like Warcraft?
Just like Warcraft.
Okay,
I've been
Baron,
trying to get Tom.
just
to
like Warcraft. We'll get him too. We'll get you. We're coming for you, Tom.
So, I would Twitch stream stuff because I would always Twitch stream video games because I would always play fighting games on Twitch. And then when we started playing X-Wing, I started. Long story short, started streaming X-Wing games.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, what can I call it that would be kind of funny? Ktoff's Filthy Casuals because we're fairly casual.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're just hanging out. We're just playing X-Wing. Yeah, let's go with that. So that's how it started. So Ktoff's Filthy Casuals kind of just like escalated after that when we started going into tournaments, and then we're like, what do we call ourselves? Well, Ktoff's Filthy Casuals.
There we go. That's awesome.
I guess we're keeping it.
But
So
who is? And then the KFC was just with the bucket was just an easy correlation.
so
you know.
So we escalated into going into bigger tournaments, and during that time in 2019ish, they were doing hyperspace trials, and those were like Worlds qualifiers at the time. So we went to our first Worlds qualifier at Red Cap's Corner in Philadelphia.
Yep, we've been there.
We just saw them at the last Unplugged.
And then like back then, we were like, let's go for the experience. Let's go to learn. We'll play against people that we never played against. We didn't think anything of it. And one of our teammates, one of our squad mates, Mark, actually like made it into top cut, and like we were like, oh my god, like what the heck is going on?
You going back tomorrow?
We're not casuals anymore.
Yeah, so we essentially started to escalate from there, and then we started to do like started to brainstorm like ideas for T-shirts and everything. So
and
like
merch, just figure it out. Yeah, like, you want that logo. It's always about the logo.
Yeah, and so we came
logos?
up with having
what are logos?
Yeah, what are logos?
I don't know what those logos.
So we ended up coming with Kevin Barron's brother. Came up with Kevin and his wife Ruby. I have to give credit where credit's due. They're amazing designers. They came up with that logo, and then the with the bucket. And
that's awesome.
Thing.
The silhouette and
they're the ones that also designed
the T-shirts
and our price support for the last event.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The
range
hard
one?
templates.
The hard
and then
templates.
The hard templates and the range one ruler. Yep.
And I mentioned Smoking Boots, and they just ran with it, and it's fantastic.
Man.
It's so cool.
They love hearing ideas that we have, and then or you have, and just running with it. They do crazy stuff.
It's amazing, and they whipped it up so quick. He came in like a week later. I was like, well, that was quick.
Yeah.
We just kind of mentioned it in passing to Baron.
Yeah.
And then boom, it's in the store. I was like, holy smoke, that was fantastic.
Yeah, those looked awesome.
Amazing.
So a personal thank you to those two as well.
Thanks, Kevin, Ruby.
Yeah. So what do you got from Chris?
Well, I wanted to know how it is that you actually go about melting your dice so that they always come up paint, going off the KFC filthy cheaters.
People think I just practice moving my ships around at home. I just practice rolling dice. Is really what it is.
Yes.
So you roll all the blanks at home.
I just roll and just keep rolling.
Find out which ones always become paint.
Yeah. Well,
How many large mammals were sacrificed on your altar to get that paint to work?
so I thought his hands were wet, but it turns out it was blood.
I get really my hands get really sweaty when I play X-Wing, just because like I get super nervous.
Well, I was actually
you
trying to channel
you
the
like
sweat.
took when we played last.
Yeah,
you
you
like,
explain.
Give me some of that.
and then like
Yeah, I literally took the sweat off his hands and
need some of
rubbed
that-
it on my head to try to absorb some of his powers.
hands
to
are juju.
counteract
that
it.
juju.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
the juju, because he was. And he couldn't believe
rolling
I was
hot
doing
fire.
it. And every time he rolled good, I would do it again. I was trying to like sap his
you
power.
were getting it. I mean,
I was
like
starting to
you
work.
rolled some
and
good
then
dice
stopped,
after.
and then he wouldn't let me touch his hand anymore because he felt like I was sapping his power.
Sapping my energy.
It's like a well, like a gravity well. You pulling it in.
So I think everybody here at the table probably knows, but maybe not everybody watching. What is your favorite faction to play in X-Wing? Is it based on power level, or do you actually like one more than the other?
So I mean, Resistance has been my main for the longest time. It's mostly because I like the way the ships look, but I was also like, it's hard to say that I'm a fan of the sequel trilogy.
I am. Don't worry.
But
I'm the only one
like,
here.
The characters, all movies aside, plot-wise aside, I fell in love with the characters. I mean, I love Finn. Finn is one of my favorite characters. Still think that he was that's
Underused.
another- Yeah.
Underused.
You could all agree.
severely
Underused.
underused.
Well, it's like they teased us with it, and it was supposed to be more, and they didn't give it
yeah, like
its due.
Poe is the wedge of his era, right?
Yes,
So like
yeah.
that's cool. You have that.
like Finn to me felt like a chance at having like a a minority version of Kyle Katarn, which is amazing.
Amazing,
Me
yeah.
being a minority, I'm like, that's so cool.
Force sensitive.
Force
They
sensitive.
could have went. It definitely was. You know what? It's never off the table too, because even though
No, it's
John
never,
Boyega
yeah.
is somewhat seems angry,
Yeah.
he's also. They've all come back and said like,
Yeah.
hey, the money's on the table. They could do something. That'd be a really cool series.
But yeah, so Resistance has always been a love of mine, just because I love the way that the ships look. They're like sleeker versions of like the Rebel ships, which to me is really cool. Like the RZ-2A wing looked gorgeous to me. I love the way that how more aerodynamic it looked than the RZ-1A
Yeah,
wing.
longer chassis.
Longer
has a
chassis,
longer-
more sleeker chassis, whereas the RZ-1 was like kind of like chubbier in the front a little bit. So. And the way the T-70s look with the big like engines,
They have the full
full-
ram.
yeah,
whereas
They have the semicircle ones, right?
Yeah.
That when they close, it's a full ram.
Yeah, exactly. That just spoke to me. So, That's the reason why I play Resistance.
I think that aesthetic too is really cool. Like that they took the T65 and then they're like, all right, what's the modern version of this? You look at a car from the 50s and then you look at a car today.
Exactly.
That aesthetic, that like
Yeah.
you know, like the modernization is its own thing in art and everything else. So it's cool that Star Wars has that and you're able to. But then they got the bomber, which throws in that whole World War II B-17 feel at the same time. Like it's like let's take that off the mothballs. Bring this out. We gotta you know blow up a beautiful First Order ship. But anyway,
that was a nice First Order.
But the First Order had the same kind of thing aesthetic.
Oh, that's why I do like First Order as well.
Yeah, it's that same Imperial aesthetic that's taken further. You know.
Yeah.
These two can.
Yeah.
Can
Chris has a smile on his face. Like he wants
these two are throwing daggers at each other across.
Whatever do you mean?
Got nothing to say.
I just wanted to point out that he used the word "was." It was a nice ship.
It was a nice ship.
Yeah.
It was.
One of many.
Tense.
One of many.
One of many.
It's the great thing about the Imperials. You can blow up one. There's a lot more behind that one. So my question would be to follow that. So then how did you find X-Wing as the game? Like what was the whoa, look at this game.
Where were you? At a game store? Did you see a video? Did somebody tell you about it?
So one of my friends, I'll shout him out real quick. He does like Infinity and like what was that, War Machine? Like back in the day, like
War Machine.
my friend Dexter. Back in the day, he would always try to get me into board games and like miniature games. But back then I was only strictly like video games.
I already
and
like
stuff.
Dexter.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now.
He's actually coming to the
coming?
store tomorrow.
Is he
to
really?
do a demo for Infinity. Somebody, like one of the locals there.
Infinity.
Yeah.
What faction does he play real quick?
That I don't know. But he's a big Infinity. Like he helps to run tournaments and stuff for Infinity. So
there you go.
he's a big Infinity dude.
Okay.
So you can chat with him
I'm
tomorrow.
a big. I liked Pan-O, so maybe we can.
I forgot what he was telling me.
All
I
right.
totally forgot.
What time is he coming? I'm gonna be there.
He's gonna be early.
All right. Good.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna go. That's the reason why I'm coming in early tomorrow.
You got Infinity and you got I don't know Derail, but you had BattleTech actually happen in the store.
BattleTech guys were the
Yeah, that's right. I saw that.
But this is why we need to
BattleTech
know.
was cool too.
This is why I like to know how it got you in it because I want to duplicate that as much as possible for more players.
Yeah, what brings a person to the table? So,
so Dexter.
So this is like 1.0. So he was like, dude, I know you love Star Wars, and I know you like ships, the X-wings and stuff. Let's try this game out. So we did like just one game, like a coffee table type game, like one or two rocks, and then the classic 2 TIE fighters versus 1
starter
X-wing.
set.
He gave me the X-wing, and I'm like, crap, this is fun. So a big thing for me when growing up when I was a kid, like Return of the I don't know if I'll get persecuted for this, but Return of the Jedi was my favorite Star Wars movie.
Okay.
It's more so nostalgia because like when I watched it at the time, like I was just like, oh my god, the Starfighter battles were insane.
That's one of the greatest Star battles.
Luke looks so badass with the green lightsaber and the black getup, and I'm like, so Starfighters like I always.
Sorry, the daggers had to go. You're trying to tell a story, and it's just like. Go ahead.
I was so enthralled by the Starfighter battles. I always wanted to be a Starfighter pilot. Yeah. So like that I was like, you're telling me that I can move these plastic ships and they're Star Wars ships?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. So like I played it and I did like it. I ended up buying, I think I bought the Hawk expansion. This is in 1.0, right? Hawk expansion and the Boba Fett expansion at the time. And then like an A-Wing or an X-Wing. And then I played it for like a little bit. But then it kind of fell off and it kind of sat on the shelf for a little while. And then fast forward to 2018. Remember I told you guys that I was in PAX. And then so me and my friend Mark, they're like, oh man, they have X-Wing. There's an X-Wing tournament down here. Like we were like walking down. And we told our wives, we're like, real quick, we're just gonna check it out.
Go take a look.
We're gonna take a look.
You know who
while you guys go do
later.
You know who was playing in that tournament? That guy over there.
Yeah, I know.
I have pictures. I'll try to pull up the picture.
I didn't play in the X-Wing. I think I played Destiny.
You were
He was playing Destiny, and I was.
You couldn't do 2 at the same time, so I knew he was like
the same day.
We split up that day. He was doing Destiny, he was doing X-Wing, and I was doing Keyforge.
Yeah. So I went down there, and I'm like I saw because I was used to the cardboard templates and just the regular painted ships that came in the package. And I saw like all these crazy templates,
acrylics,
all the acrylic like all swag, the drip there, and
the drip. Got that drip.
And then all the painted ships and like all the magnetized ships that were like going on this and that. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I even asked one of the dudes like, can we just watch you guys that was down there? And we were hooked, and we're like, all right, we're gonna get everybody into this. So we're like literally. like a day or two after we got back from PAX, we started like looking up where to buy stuff. We like bought stuff on Amazon. At the time, there was only like one other local store near us that was selling X-Wing, and they didn't really have too much. So basically, at that point,
order online.
But to buy online. And then we got like our whole group of friends to play. Like I think our first game was like a free-for-all. We didn't know what we were doing, but we put 2 mats together, and everyone brought like a list, and then we just all went at it. It was hilarious.
That must have been fantastic.
Yeah, and then it just escalated from there. Oh yeah, there he is.
I'm gonna give this.
Please no.
I'm gonna give this picture. I'm gonna give this picture to Phil.
Yes.
I actually was looking for Sal after I finished my key forge. I wanted to see where he was, and I'm like, oh, he got placed at table 38, I think it was, or whatever. So I'm looking for him. I couldn't find him, and I found him. And I took a picture of him because he was like so focused. Look at him.
God.
Look at that focus.
You know where I was running?
That's how you got to be.
Laser focus, right?
What were you running?
I was running at the time, so that was I was all TIE bombers.
Oh, all TIE bombers.
With at the time you could put like I had
rockets.
ordnance and bombs.
Yeah, ordnance
so
and
like
bombs.
it was just let's go and
let's
but
delete stuff off the board.
yeah, but if I remember, it was also at the time there was the Han Solo crew debacle inside the YV 2400 with his whole and I was like getting annihilated by that.
There it is right there.
Yep, there it is.
I was playing across from a guy, and he literally never played in a tournament, and he just signed up with that list, and he was destroying with it. And I'm like, wow, this guy never like came to ever.
Yeah.
He doesn't even seem like he doesn't even play.
Yeah.
He's a complete green. Came with a list that was smacking, and I'm like, that's cool. Let's go for it.
Well, that's why they ended up.
Getting rid of that. But oh my god.
Yeah, so that was the start of it, and then so we started playing just within our group of friends, and then I think Dexter, it was probably Dexter or somebody. There was like, oh, there's a tournament at I think it was at that time it was Highlander Games out in Boonton, like a casual like monthly tournament. And we're like, let's go do it.
Okay.
But us having all fairly competitive minds, we're like, let's test our mettle.
Yeah,
right?
let's go for it.
And we didn't do half bad, and then it just we got hooked since then, and then it, like I said, escalated till we kept doing tournaments till we got up to doing like Worlds qualifiers, the hyperspace trials, because they were so prevalent at the time.
I miss those. I mean, that format was cool. What the rewards you got. I mean, that match, you were able to buy the mat. Like they had the system open mats and stuff. I miss that. Like that's when companies had more swag before the pandemic, and I really felt like now it's just like, we didn't have to give it. We're never giving it again. Like, I mean, now you just get the scraps. But anyway,
so you started meeting more and more players as like the other rest of the crew. How do they start joining the crew?
So one of the hyperspace trials in New York, the one in West Nyack, Keith and Harris, who's also part of KFC. They started. We hung out with them there. I was actually Baron and Mark that did. I wasn't able to go to that one, but they started off with Mark and Baron. Then they kind of hooked up and kind of started playing together, and we started talking, and we started like practicing together and everything. So that's how Keith and Harris came into the fold.
Cool.
And then it was basically just picking up, friends, like getting, meeting new people and hanging out with them and getting them to join. Just essentially what it is. Like half the people that are in there were people that I had played in tournaments. Like, well, you don't see him anymore because he had a kid. But Alex, one of our friends, Alex, he was one of my tournaments at PAX. Opponents at PAX. And I was talking about him. We're like, oh, dude, you live in Jersey. Like
you're close. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's meet up and play. And then that's how he started getting into it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's all just a bunch of friends basically. Just
PAX was a breath of fresh air because the Gen Con circuit, we drive 11 hours to go to Gen Con, and that
we went like 5 years in a row.
So when PAX first, I'm like, wow, they're gonna like this.
It's close.
It's close.
We didn't even have to get a room if we didn't want to. We could just
drive.
Go in and out every day if you want. You could actually go home.
Thank God. Thank God. Thank you, PAX.
Yeah.
And then Denix on top.
Denix.
Did you go? You've been to the market, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The Amish
donuts.
Yeah.
Bears donuts.
They're so good.
Amazing.
So good. Even the
that
cookies
whole market.
are good too.
It's worth the drive alone.
Just the whole market.
Yeah.
It's a great experience.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's the furthest you've ever traveled for X-Wing?
Alabama.
Alabama.
So this is actually right before the pandemic hit, February 2020. Baron, being the mastermind of KFC, was like, we should do a team tournament. So the Birmingham Barons, they do a podcast.
Yes.
Right? And they always host a team tournament. So Baron's like, They're cool. Like Dion, who's like the head streamer of GSP Gold Squadron podcast.
Shout out Gold
For
Squadron.
who doesn't know that? They're like the
should
ESPN
know.
of X-Wing.
And we pretty much every time we talk about X-Wing, we drop a GSP because
exactly.
everybody watches it. So.
Yep. So we were like, they're gonna be there. They're gonna stream. So let's go. Let's have fun. So we went there. We're like, screw it. Let's just buy tickets. So we went and played, and we actually got second on there.
Wow.
Which was crazy because
Awesome,
some of the players that were there were like really good players, like really like high level players coming out of Atlanta, and the Birmingham Barons in and of itself, they're good players. So we played against them and some other people. So it was definitely good competition, but surprisingly we got second. And then so that was the farthest we've ever.
That's the farthest out you've guys been.
Yeah, we've gone to like Maryland too for a hyperspace trial there.
Did you drive? Flew?
Alabama?
Yeah.
Oh, Alabama we flew. Because that would have been crazy.
Did you carry on your X-Wing ship and hold it in your lap? the case? Or
did you put it in the overhead?
We put it in the overhead.
I never traveled with miniatures before, and I could find myself like sitting on the plane like this if I had anything.
Especially if it's something you want to go in and compete with. Do not lose this.
Gotta go one piece.
You can have my entire wardrobe. I'm okay with wearing what I have for the next 3 days. I could always buy another
underwear.
I could always buy another shirt at the con or whatever, but do not.
So I literally had like
minis.
I have like one of those like carry-ons that really perfectly fit into like the
overhead.
The overhead. So I had all my clothes there, plus like electronics and whatever. And then in my book bag, my second carry-on, I had my X-Wing stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
I never
Condensed.
Good to know. I've never traveled with that stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to the Steel Open when it was happening?
No. In where is that?
There was in D.C.
Yeah.
Right outside D.C. I signed up for a Steel Open, and it was named after Marek Steel from the Empire. And I was going to that event, and then it got canceled for a reason, and then it just gone forever.
They're the ones that used to have the really cool coins.
They have a challenge coin.
Challenge coins, yeah.
I showed you the challenge coin. There was a defender on there because he was Marek Steel.
Yeah.
And
I mean, challenge coins are like are really usable nowadays too because of the first player button. People use it. The challenge coins is first player button. So
anyone who knows good challenge coins, people make them. Let us know, please, in the comments below. That's good to know. It's good to know. Who else has got experience with? Oh, you go.
You've been around since first edition.
Yeah.
And now we're into second edition.
Yes.
And now we're into second 2.5 edition.
2.5, 6, 7, 4, 3, 2.
What is your thought on the progression they've taken from 1 to 2 to 2.5? And I guess we could expand upon that.
Yeah, like
otherwise.
How was 1.0 for you?
Right now.
How was 2.0 for you?
Spicy, but also let me add that I have, as a store owner, I have seen people come and I've seen people go.
Yes.
You never went.
I never went.
You stuck through it the whole way. When we went from
colors
20,
don't run.
When we went from 20 people to 4 people, back to 20 people.
Yeah.
Did you ever,
Toff was a consistent.
Have you ever seen those silver fire suits they wear in like the furnace? That
Yeah.
was him next to the dumpster fire. Right?
he was like, I'm not giving up. This is gonna work. I know it.
It takes a lot for me to give up. So 1.0 to 2.0, I can't really say much about that other than it felt better. Because like I didn't play 1.0 competitively. I just played it like very casually. But from what I've heard and from what I've seen and played, it was from 1.0 to 2.0 was a huge improvement. Yeah. Because there's a lot of broken stuff.
It was the best.
And having stuff more modular, like because everything was app based in 2.0, it made things so much easier, so much more accessible for people. As opposed to having the printed cards. I mean, the printed cards are nice, but having that flexibility like really helped to like let them fix the game if they needed to, or balance the game.
Accessible.
I think that's one of the things that gets lost in all this was when 2.0 came out, just the collector side of it, just the organization side of it, just the you hated playing with cards that had a different points than it really was, and it got confusing and sorting it all out.
Exactly.
And, so at first it was like, oh, I got to buy all this new cardboard. But then it was like, well, once we got it now.
Yeah.
That's it. We'll be done.
And the game was
the
broken.
app was that was a huge part.
The game was broken. Like at that point,
yeah.
it was so broken that like they nerfed Jump Masters like 7 times, and like it still was at the winning table. So.
Yeah.
I really loved throwing out all those cards.
Yeah.
It was like cathartic almost.
Did you
like,
have?
Yeah,
you had the little upgrades,
ones,
right?
yeah.
So like that was
that
was annoying having a
It
second
was.
sleeve product.
That's what I'm saying. That collector part of it.
That sucked.
It was just
Yeah.
that just felt freeing.
Yeah.
Right there.
Standardized.
Yes.
So
it's a whole different.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously 2.0. I mean, I love like that's where we all like really just like we were so hardcore deep into it and into like strategy and tactics and stuff. And then 2.5 came around, and I'll be completely honest. When 2.5 first came around, I was not happy. I mean, like it fundamentally changed the game in a certain way that was not as fun as 2.0. But I knew in my heart that I could not critique this if I didn't play it.
If you didn't try it,
you can't be like, oh, I don't like this game anymore, and then not play. And so that's why I stuck with it. I'm like, I'm gonna keep playing, and I'm gonna try to get good at it, and then I'm gonna try to prove myself wrong.
Okay.
Because like I don't want to just be all talk. I want to take action as well.
Yeah. Which I completely agree with.
Yeah.
And from a D&D point of view,
Yeah.
as that's like my forte.
Yeah.
And I do that with every edition.
Yeah.
You just got to play it.
You just got to play it.
You play it, and then you find out.
Like, the developers are developers for a reason. That's their job. And we just got to find out, where they're trying to get at. They're obviously not trying to kill the game.
No.
They're trying to make it better.
Yeah.
And longevity, like we don't know how the outlook for like where they want the game to go, and this is stage 1, and we might see stage 5 where it's like, oh wow, they needed to do this now back then, otherwise the game would have died. Like so, we don't know. It's hard to tell.
And like in retrospect, you after playing the game in a bigger capacity now with these new rules, you can see why they did the things they did. But then they changed the rules up significantly I like to call it 2.6, but a lot of people are like 2.5 still, whatever.
Yeah.
At any rate, so 2.6 when they made like not big sweeping changes, but really one key big change. So for those that don't know, when 2.5 set out, you could grab objectives at turn 1.
Turn 1.
And so what that did is that hampered low ship count lists. Like they could not keep up because like you just brought 5 to 6 like ship lists that were zoomy, and they'd be able to grab like objectives.
5 straight boost and you're there.
So
right?
it just became an objective game. It wasn't a dogfighting game anymore, and that's what turned people off.
Yeah.
But then in 2.6 they changed it so that you could only grab the objectives at turn 2, and that did literally wonders for the game. Like it felt like playing X-Wing again. It felt fun again for me, and I think a lot of people that went back to it, I think they agree that it's super fun. Like like there's obviously stuff that they could still work on.
Yeah.
Particularly like the list building, but I mean we can get back to that at another time. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, and it was still X-Wing. It was
still
like what we liked, but now they added like another strategy element.
Yes.
It didn't feel like a replacement game.
Right.
Now it felt like they made it better.
Yeah, the depth is there because like, oh, this list is better at these. Like you couldn't just bring a list that was good at taking out like ships anymore. You had to have a list that was more well-rounded, Or if you really wanted to lean into a certain archetype, you basically had to punt a scenario,
When we played, and we did a couple demo games because I was learning the rules. You were helping me out, showing me the new rules, whatever. I want to get back into it. And when we started doing the objectives, there was a couple times when I was like, all right, let me just blow him up. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, we got an engagement coming. But I am on top of the objective, and I have a second ship. Now, you just – and it didn't feel clunky. It just felt like, options.
Yeah, you're like, what should I do?
What's the better strategic point here?
Yeah.
Instead of just like, me just blow him up and I win.
Yeah.
It was, well, I can blow him up, or do I get the objective, or do I send one ship to get the objective and blow? So my brain just started going. And that's the fun part.
The depth of strategy is definitely bigger now, I would say. For sure, and that's what makes the game fun. It feels like a welcome addition now. Yeah, the scienarios.
Yeah,
you do have to give. I mean, people hate on AMG for what they did, but you have to give them credit.
No,
the change to and for now, just so you know, Ktoff calls it 2.6. It's 2.6. Just so we know.
I'm not going
to call it 2.6 here.
It is 2.6. You hear me talking about in the store?
It's 2.6 now.
2.6. So now, but you got to give AMG credit for they changed that in a fair, a recent amount of time. Yeah. It's not. Look, GW, you wouldn't get that rules change for 6 to maybe 10 months.
Same thing with FFG.
And FFG wasn't, so I give AMG credit. They saw something that like, you know what, we're willing to say it's not working right now. Let's change it right away.
I mean, in 30 years of gaming, I think that's the fastest I've ever seen a company react.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot riding on it for them.
Right? Which is, I've never seen a company react that fast. It was a couple months.
Yeah, and I was surprised and happy that they were so willing to, change the game significantly.
And the point change helped too. They had that second round of point changes, and it moved certain things. Certain threes became twos.
Too broken.
But you know what? That's where that digital system in like the old days, like you could just now go to their slider and that's now digital, and you get it on the digital side. You don't have to worry about anything printed.
Yeah.
So that's that 2.0 happiness that carried over. That's how successful it was, that they were able to react so fast, because they were like, oh, whoa, we made a mistake. Yeah. We'll just get it right out there, and you don't have to. Nobody had to spend any money.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
That's the key, right?
Yeah.
If you don't,
no one spent money,
because that's the first thing that upsets people is when you're changing an edition. It always it's a money grab.
Buy all
it's
new
a
stuff.
money grab.
Conversion kits were. I didn't mind them because I wasn't having fun 1.0, but I literally opened. Yeah. I did 2 Imperial.
Because you were
conversion kits.
Swarm pilot,
I had all those. Well, that's when your generics were. You could fly a lot of generics. But you had to, and then I had every faction. I still bought anyway because I have every goddamn ship. That was those little center points from the dials. They were everywhere. I still find them in my basement now. Those little cardboard circles.
So 2.5 to 2.6.
Yes.
Didn't cost anybody a dime.
No, it did not.
And
it got significantly better.
Yeah, so that's fantastic there too. So it had a good time frame, and nobody spent any money, and you're still playing the game that you like.
Yes,
I think this game has always been one of the cheaper games to get into from a
mini
perspective. I mean,
without a doubt.
You can get started for like $40 to $50, and you have a full-fledged list
that you can get a lot of replay on. You know what I mean? And there's no. I mean, people take hobby into the game, but there's no initial hobby. There's no building.
My ships.
And they look, and the personalization is the extra part, but it's painted on the table. We always say that there's very few games. I think other miniature companies could probably rule the world if they figured out how to give you. I mean, if GW can give you painted miniatures, I mean,
game over.
I mean, game over, man. I mean, game over, man.
I mean, it's one of those games that always looks good on the table because you can see various level of GW games. Like if I play a game of Blood Bowl, both teams are painted, the pitch is nice and colorful, it looks impressive.
Yeah.
You could also see a game of Blood Bowl where both teams are completely gray and the board is beat up and it looks like a whole different thing. X-Wing is always
uniform play.
Yeah, as long as you're playing on a Starfield mat or Hoth, you have color, you have painted ships, you have a nice area. It looks impressive.
Yeah. We got to kind of thank the original FFG guys for finding that system because originally it was a World War II.
Yeah, Wings of
War system. And that game, that really, the one thing about X-Wing, it really feels like you brought up the Empire, Return of the Jedi, that final battle. The dog fighting is what is really an essential part of Star Wars. Like when you think of Star Wars, it's hero combat, ground combat, fighting in the hallways, heroes. But then the space combat is its own part of the love. And X-Wing, the system of X-Wing, really feels like dogfighting. Like there's no other game that I could say I really feel. I mean, sometimes I play a lot of the miniature games, and does it really feel like a slog in a trench? Like the system doesn't make me feel like I'm in the war. I always feel like I'm dogfighting. I always feel like I'm a pilot when I'm in that. They're playing the system.
You know what's actually weird too is that they've put this same game system on other IPs, and it doesn't work as well.
Yeah,
they did it for Attack Wing.
Attack Wing. Yeah,
they did it for Dungeons and Dragons.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that. I'm a Trekkie. And that game dying just pissed me off.
Well, I think that my personal hatred was that I could put Picard on like a Romulan.
That's what broke the game.
Which was wrong.
That's what broke the game.
Taking me out of the immersion. Right
but there's an example of, everybody was fine. There was a lot of ships. Everybody was having fun. But they couldn't react the way FFG did because of the change with the app and everything like that. They couldn't react in time. And by the time they did try to react, it died.
It was already done.
And then X-Wing was already there with an improved system to retake its place.
Yeah,
it's also probably a more popular IP to the masses, right?
It also shows that company just who wrote Crypto. Who's the
that
company?
was WizKids. WizKids did them, and they did the D&D one. That brought in ground troops and Dragon
Combat. The people working on that game just weren't the caliber of people that were FFG at the time.
Wasn't it like a World War II fighting system?
Yeah, it was Wings of War.
Wings of War. But yeah, I think that captain thing is what broke that game.
Yes, absolutely.
In general.
So that's rough.
Oh, poor. Do you like Star Trek?
Yeah, I like Star Trek.
Cool. Yeah. We were going to ask you Star Wars, Star Trek. It's obvious, but
I love it all. I love Star Trek.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's
wait. If you love Star Trek, I have to ask.
Oh, okay, maybe not love Star Trek. Maybe let me dial it back. Okay. I don't know that much about Star Trek, but I do like it.
Do you have a favorite captain?
Picard.
Okay.
Yeah. Because growing up, I'd watch Next Generation.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wait, just real quick then, just to diverge to Trek real second. I need to know favorite captain. You still kind of new to it.
Definitely Picard.
mean, he's so much fun.
You've seen it all, so I know you have a deeper choice.
You know why I like Picard? I like Picard because he has Riker with him. So it's like a nice dichotomy. Like it's a nice.
It's like together the
tit for tat.
command structure is better. I get you.
Kirk just seemed like he was bipolar. He would fly. He would fly off the handle one episode, and then he
also
was.
He was also a victim of
hurts.
the decade. You know,
it hurts.
I know it's hard. It's a hard choice
Because Sisko is not really a captain, but he's a captain in my essence.
Well, he does become.
I know he becomes, but
he's a captain in your heart.
He's captain in the heart.
So it counts.
You know, Picard's the best captain. Like when you look at Starfleet credentials, like who would I want in a moment? Because Kirk, you don't know 1 minute he's gonna be like, just launch every proton torpedo we got.
If you're looking at the resume, like if somebody was going to be an admiral, it's Picard.
Picard, yes.
So he's the only one that becomes it. Oh, actually, Riker eventually.
But he's stiff. Like Kirk's laying it to the ladies. Like that guy's just all over the place. You know. So
Captain Riker gets worse. When it comes to
Sisko's cool, and he does the whole. We have the whole war with the Dominion, so I got to go Picard. It's just too good.
Mine is always Sisko. Sisko all day, every day. I mean, we're kindred bald members.
He's a baseball fan, right?
He's a baseball fan. Number 2, he's a parent. Right, he's the only captain that's actually a parent. So,
as Kirk, as he knows, he's
wait. True, right? He might have some. He probably has little green babies running around. We don't even know.
There's half Andorians running around for sure. He's Kirk, baby.
Yeah. Woo. All right, so bringing it back to Star Wars. So, favorite trilogy?
Original trilogy.
I
mean, like that's.
Don't say that with disdain. That's the right answer.
I mean, no, that is. I mean, yeah.
Well, because I think that's
I'm trying to be hipster about it, but I can't.
Well,
so
I think it's a very age-driven. I think it's a very age-driven question too.
Yes,
because if I was to ask my children that, or my nephew Eric, Daniel, and Aiden would all say
they're prequels.
Because that's their Star Wars movie.
I mean, I grew up during when the prequels like when Phantom Menace came out. I'm gonna date myself, but when Phantom Menace came out, I was like in 8th grade. So like I grew up with Phantom Menace.
He's dating himself. 8th grade.
Maybe not as much.
You know what? That's it.
No.
Back it up.
No, we're going to the arcade.
Arcade. Here we go.
Okay, cheesesteak time.
The cheesesteak time. 8 on the break. So I mean I grew up on the prequels too, but I went back and watched the original trilogy and grew up watching that like over and over again, and that spoke to me more than the prequels for me,
Okay.
That aesthetic too.
Cool.
You didn't like a whole movie about a trade embargo? I mean,
oh my God, I had such a huge crush on Natalie Portman back then.
Oh please, who didn't?
She's still beautiful.
Well, I'm not going to talk about it because I know my wife watches the show. I actually got in trouble.
I'm about to get in trouble right now.
She called you out on Facebook. My wife goes, look.
Like,
my wife goes, Melina called Dan out on Facebook.
Did. She said she gave me the I'm always watching on Facebook, and I was like,
she already knows I like Natalie Portman, so I mean, I can't really hide it anyways.
Oh, it's terrible.
That the Snape always.
Sorry,
babe.
Well,
yeah, it was. It was really creepy. Ooh, I'm getting the heebie-jeebies thinking about it. But it's definitely an age-driven thing. I think I'm sure there's people that the newer trilogy was their, first seeing it in the big because going to the movie theater, seeing it on a big screen, that can draw you in. Right. For me, it was I remember waiting. I mean, I was 9 when the first trilogy started.
Damn, he's old.
We're not going to do the math.
I was 9 when the first.
Back in my day.
That celluloid film going around.
I could do it. I could do it in my. Should do it in my Palpatine voice. Yeah.
I was 15 when they re-released them.
Okay, guys. Okay.
Boom.
Easy now.
Yeah.
Okay. Calm down.
That's actually what got me more hooked on the original trilogies when they re-released the special editions.
Special edition, right?
Those
Did you watch those in theaters?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so cool.
Because you had seen them on like. Personally,
VHS.
My story was I had seen them on VHS and I had seen them on TNT. Like that was my Star Wars, and it was like the square. And then all of a sudden, you widen it out. You give me John Williams and Dolby Digital,
and enhanced explosions.
That whole Jabba scene where they had that old footage, and they and then they CGI'd it twice. Remember that? Like they did the really bad first Jabba.
Dice noodles. And all those upgrades.
That was There's Boba Fett gives the little chin to one of the girls. I mean, like there was like those little things. I'm like, this is all new. Like so, it was
Especially after watching the original 19,000 times on a VHS to the point where the tracking wouldn't even work anymore.
I demagnetized the VHS bootleg version of Star Wars.
Just watching it too many
like,
times.
Yeah, it would look like a snuff film today. That thing. It was so bad. My dad came home with this thing.
It was so bad.
With Star Wars and like scribbled in pen on the side. I'm like, whoa. Destroyed that thing. Yeah. My favorite trilogy is anything that shows anything Imperial. And not because it's the aesthetic. It's seeing new stuff for anything of any period. Like, I just love seeing the inner workings of things. I love to see what, like Andor, getting to see what the ISB does and like the aesthetic of like this. There's all that behind the scenes stuff. You're always following the hero arc, right? But what's happening to everyone else? Like, and I think those moments are like whenever there's a new movie, I'm just like, oh, wow, look at that. Look at the inside of that. Like the inside of Galaxy's Edge when you go to Rise of Resistance and you're in the hangar.
Yeah.
And, like, that's the behind-the-scenes stuff that, like, I just get excited for.
Even more to that same aspect, not just behind the scenes, but, like, what does a regular person go through in this universe?
Yeah.
What is Dan?
Yeah.
Who's walking around with a family, has a store that sells, sabacc cards or whatever.
What are they doing?
Like, what do I do?
What are they eating?
Does a stormtrooper come in and just start asking me for my papers while I'm trying to sell games? And did you pay taxes
There's
on that?
There's something fascinating about it.
Yeah.
So, there's all those moments like Obi-Wan, like he would go and hide, and that girl had him in like that room in the back. It's got all the Jedi scratchings.
Yes.
And, like, what are they doing in there? Like, what does that droid do all day? Like just those little moments of like the everyday stuff that we would fit into because you know. That's the fact that to me that's what I look forward the most in every new show. Yeah, I want to see great storyline action, good guys, bad guys, all that stuff. But I love the detail that's given to all that stuff. Someone's thinking about that. Dave Filoni's a master at that. We're gonna see Andor's gonna give us Clone Wars era behind the scenes. What Separatist planet looked like. That wasn't a droid planet. People just like
going back to Trek versus Star Wars for me and it's not that I really truly liked one more than the other. It was that Trek gave me more because it was episodic.
Yeah.
I would have how many episodes? These tertiary characters that you never saw. You saw what regular people were doing. You saw all that stuff. And Star Wars is realizing that now.
Yeah, you're
with
giving
all this.
Well, because it was always about the battle. Like Trek's the opposite. We never had fighting in Star Trek. It was always the human like problems of every day. Like, oh, we got to this planet. Wow, these people want to eat our face. What do we do? Let's talk to them. And like that. That's why Wrath of Khan. For Star Trek fans, that
big
the battle when two ships fought, I was just like,
music blast.
God. They're shooting at each other. And then, but Star Wars always gave us the war part of the stars, and now we're getting the human side of Star Wars, where it's the small stories, and I think that's what maybe
and more of it because we're doing episodes, and I think Mando really just, besides the fact it was a great show, but just giving us so much of more of that. Like dark, seedy underbelly, outer rim.
It's the place we never went to, right? So we went there, and everybody's
when
like,
he goes
wow.
to the bar. I mean, we've seen Mos Eisley, we've seen the canteen.
But that's
one
bar.
That was just a regular bar.
Yeah.
This was just a regular bar, people hanging out, doing their thing, and then, the shit hits the fan, right off the bat. And they're like, oh, the guy in the land speeder who talks about, creatures under the ice or whatever.
Complaining about his day, like,
no
droids. Like, he didn't want a droid ferryman, so it's like, I'll wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Cool stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, here's, I guess, the heavier question is, what do you want to see in the future of X-Wing? What do you hope that we get in the, 2, 3, 4 years? Like, what are you looking forward to?
More ships, more rules changes,
everything.
More styles of play.
Ships-wise, more ships.
T-80?
T-85,
T-80. Was it 85? T-80?
T-85,
285, T-85 from Resistance.
Yeah, maybe that transport ship that they use in Rise of Skywalker. Maybe something there because Resistance doesn't have a medium base ship yet.
Yeah, I would say the T-85 might be. You could a medium based X-Wing.
I think people were arguing that you could
because there's a scale when you look at them. It's a beefy.
It is beefy, yeah. More ships. I know they're coming out with card packs, and so I've been looking forward to that because I've been for the longest time I've been like, oh, I can't wait to see Poe and a Falcon. You saw that in Rise of Skywalker, right? So we're gonna be getting that, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
And if you guys have seen the card, the ability is bonkers.
Just be careful. Remember what happened to Star Trek Attack Wing.
Oh,
I'm just. That's why I'm
but
glad
he was
we asked
in
this
it.
question.
So he flew it.
Yeah,
so
he flew it. So
it's not like Darth Vader's flying the Falcon.
Someone
legitimately did.
Be careful. That's all I'm saying.
We talked
we
about.
don't want it to happen.
Imagine Darth Vader in a fire spray. Oh my God. Force 3 out the back, 3 out the front. Oh my God! But go ahead.
The biggest thing for me is I would like to see more granularity or a better way to balance out points in list building. So that's like currently like out of like the people that I talk to, like our group of players, like that's the one thing that is still kind of needs like a good amount of work is like the list building, because there's so in 2.0, right, you know that you count up to 200, right? Okay. And then the ships are like anywhere from like 20 points to like whatever,
24 to like
55 or 60.
So when they swapped it to the 20 point list building, that I hate using this word because it's used everywhere in all the X-Wing podcasts, but there's a loss of granularity.
Okay. You can't go 2.5. You can't make a ship that's 3 points to 2.2.5 ship.
And like I know there's a bunch of levers that they can pull and press to kind of tweak that, because there's the separate loadout value. So maybe there's something there, but there's certainly some ships that are like so hard to like certain ships that you can't go to like from 2 to 3. Like they're broken at 2, but then when they go to 3, they're just unusable,
non-playable now.
Yeah, and you want people to be able to play the ships that they like, but at the same time, you don't want to break the game, especially since we have such a huge competitive scene. So I'll leave it up to them. They know better than I do. I don't know. I'm just sit here and play the game, but
as long as they're still responsive.
Which they have been.
Yeah,
I mean,
which
honestly,
is good,
like
because they can throw it at us. Because I mean, the truth is, games nowadays they're using us for testers.
What do you think?
Right?
What point would you think like total would work? Like if they had 40 points, then you can make ships and
so that makes it hard too. I still think having the 20-point threshold is would probably be it. But yeah, they'd have to find ways to balance it out, i.e., like the loadout values. Gotcha. But it's just, I mean, I get it. Like they basically have made a new game, so in terms of like list building, so it's going to take them a little while, and we're obviously the playtesters.
Yeah, I was going to say we are the playtesters.
We are the playtesters, so it's going to take them a while to kind of figure out which levers and buttons to push and pull. So I mean, hopefully, I mean, we have been giving them a lot of data, because like even when you put all the tournaments are all done on TTT, like even when you input like your results, like that asks you how many turns you went, like what objective you did, how many points did it go to time. So
there's data being collected.
There's data definitely being collected, and I think that's the reason why they made that big change from 2.5 to 2.6 in the first place, because they were seeing like how the games were going initially in the tournament scene, in the competitive scene, and they reacted accordingly.
Well, when it comes to changing a game, I'm okay with being the beta tester.
Yeah,
as long as they listen, which they did.
Right, exactly.
Right? But a new game, I would not be as comfortable spending money on something that I want to get into, and you give me a broken game right out the box. That would be a problem.
Yeah, at least this game has legacy, that like it's been around for a while.
Because now, especially if you're listening to me, then I feel like I'm part of the system too.
Yeah,
like we could play this game and. This is not good. This is not, let's go and put the data in. Say, listen, we've been doing this, and we think this is a problem. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
And then that's I'm okay with. Just don't give me out the box brand new game. Here you go, guys.
Figure it out.
What do you think? What's this look like?
Have a terrible time, and
that has happened a couple times. And games like that, they never succeed.
Yeah.
And then we feel like we're wasting money. And once we feel like we're wasting money, then we got problems.
Then
games die.
And then they die.
I guess there's that fear too. You need new shows, right? Because like at some point when you look at the sequel trilogy, you're going to run it bare. I mean, besides that, Resistance, whatever came out in Resistance, the animated cartoon, we got that. Rise of Skywalker, we still like the TIE Dagger.
Yep.
The Night Buzzard with the Knights of Ren. You have a few like on-screen ships, and then for the sequel trilogy, we're going to be in the dark unless there's something that's going to, there was a small rumor of the new show, The Skeleton Crew, with Jude Law, and he's got a bunch of kids. Now that show is going to be set in, I think, the Mandalorian period era. They're calling it. So supposedly he's saved these kids, and they're running off and trying to get away from something. Blah blah. And there was a small rumor that he's really working for the First Order, and he's going to bring those kids in to be. As that's how like people were ferrying out these kids into the unknown regions to have the kids. I'm like, that would be dark as hell, but like once again, but you need those ships from like that would be cool if it's at the front end of the sequel trilogy, because if you show me a ship, as soon as we see a ship, when we're gonna see ships in Andor, that's gonna be the OG trilogy, right? So like you could hope we see 1 or 2 ships for those guys, but when you're in the prequels and the sequels, we're gonna run thin for new things, and that's what killed. I feel like Armada ran into that. Like, there's only so many capital battles that are on screen. When you think of the sequel trilogy, there was a few capital ships, but there was no capital battles. It was all X-wing battles when you think of the ship battles.
Star Trek, Dead Game, Attack Wing has 3 times the amount of ships that X-wing does.
Holy smokes!
3 times the amount.
Well, there's like 14. There's 14 enterprises. I mean, so you can make every one if you wanted to.
And then there's so many. Each faction has 13 ships minimum.
Yeah, light cruisers, attack vessels.
So they actually suffered from too
much,
right? And then it was too little. I think X-wing is still in a good spot.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like Sal's saying, that the new shows will give us just a nice steady flow. Of maybe 3 to 6 months a new ship. 3 to 6 months a new ship.
Yeah, AMG did say that new pilot. There was a pilot in the Fang Fighter for Scum, and like they didn't have any other canonized, even EU character that they could put in a Fang. So they let the guys at AMG create their own pilot, and Lucasfilm was like, go for it. I mean, obviously they okayed it, but that's kind of cool, giving them the ability to be like, all right, we're not creating a whole new ship, but I need a pilot to fill this role. Can we come up with so and so? So. Like you said, those card packs are a big thing, giving us new pilots for existing ships. You could just keep on, cool, you have this new pilot. I'll take that I'll take that more than maybe plastic miniatures for the release year.
Yeah.
Keep giving me pilots to something new. It changes up how people play, and that's important.
Well, let's just play what we have already in a different manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's always good.
Yep, that's always fun.
Yeah.
I really hope Epic got kind of pushed out once again because they didn't come up with a point scheme for Epic. I would love to see the Epic ships either make a tournament version of a game that you can go to tournament play with Epic and have their own shot at Worlds that way. If you want to go that way and that's your channel, cool. You don't have to do it that way. It would be cool to see them more integrated into the game, I think.
That would be awesome. I hope so too. I'm hoping that they're working on it.
Yeah.
So I think I've heard them say that they do like Epic. So.
Yeah, and that Gauntlet is. I mean, I know the Gauntlet was probably an FFG holdover that kind of was coming. But it's a fantastic model ship. Oh my god!
It looks great on the table.
It would really benefit more on a bigger table. Like some of those ships on a 3x6 would really be able to shine. That poor ship doing its maneuvers. It's only so many places it can go on 3x3.
With as bad as asteroids are now.
Oh my god!
Found out the hard way.
Dan found out the hard way the other time.
Oh my god! I'm still shaking.
Auto damage, right? So
I'm still shaking at night, thinking I was just bouncing. And I told you I got rid of all my large rocks. They're all
small
gone.
Rocks.
Yeah. Just fly Vulture droids and land on them.
Or
it's fine.
I did mention that. I did mention mining guild ties.
Yeah, mining guild ties.
I'm just flying mining guild because I'm a scum guy.
They're great for that.
Yeah.
My poor ties. They really blow up when they hit friggin'.
Oh man, it's terrible. It's terrible.
bad.
You can actually take 2 damage from it.
Yeah, literally 2 damage.
Terrible.
But let's hope. Like you said, let's hope that's the trajectory. What's one ship you would like? You'd want. What's one reprint you would want like right now?
Oh, that's a good question. One reprint that I would want right now. I want the Star Viper.
Okay, I want everybody to answer that question.
Star Viper
I got one
for sure, because that is such a gorgeous ship. Guri is a staple character. Everybody loves Guri. I mean, like
fantastic
especially
pilot.
like within like the EU and
I've seen
fandom.
the artwork of her.
I always hated playing against that ship because it just buzzes around.
It does.
It
buzz
is
like a
wily.
Right?
It doesn't buzz around like it did before because
No,
they took out
they
the
took out-
advanced sensor slot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's still really good. It's still really good. But yeah, Star Viper for sure is the one that
All
I
right,
would
you got a reprint?
ask.
Maybe somebody higher up is listening, and we'll give them. Hey, listen, if these guys, if Toff wants the reprint, you should give it to him.
this
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Let me think. What do I want on a reprint?
Just so it's in standard, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to go to the Empire.
Oh my God!
I wonder why.
Shock! Write this down. This never happened before.
I like.
Look,
For me,
just
I would.
look at the
I
camera as
went
you say that.
full.
Look at your
I almost wore
Look at
that.
the camera as he says that. I mean,
Almost.
hello,
Almost.
shock, amazing.
I love my first order, but I like the Decimator as a crew carrier is cool, but like it's so beefy, and then the Reaper's cool. But I really like the Lambda. Something about the classic Lambda as a carrier. I would love to see the Lambda reprinted with a title that makes it a gunship.
Okay.
And it's not the crew carrier. Take the crew away because there's that one moment in Mandalorian when Boba Fett's chasing and they board that one.
They have the doctor on
Yeah,
there.
and that thing's cooking. It looks like it's full throttle.
Yeah,
and I'm
it's like moving.
and
It
I'm like,
wasn't like a stationary little.
It's not just like going from capital ship to capital ship delivering Vader or someone. Like
It's really criminal that they haven't already released it.
And
it's such an iconic Empire ship.
It's so iconic. So I think a little thing, you'd get it. It would have all the classic pilots in there, and then give us that option to make it. You want to strip the crew and make it a little quick gunship and go, because it's still got the front and rear. Maybe help its dial, because its dial's still horrific.
A little chunky.
But it would be fun.
Chris?
That's mine.
Mine's not a reprint. Mine's a repackage.
Okay.
Because Grievous's ship has never come individual.
With these obvious
it's always in the
It's always in the 3-pack.
Yeah.
So I mean, give me that ship. I want to be able to fly like 6 of those.
Oh,
let's go 6 wide.
He had 6 arms. Let's have 6 Grievous,
he can-
6 Grievous ships.
And it's AI, so it's fine.
All right, so mine's pretty easy. Scum and Villainy. It's the Kirox.
Yeah.
We've
Kirox
been
is
talking
fun.
about it for a while. The Black Sun.
I love those
Yeah,
ships.
It's the Scum X-Wing,
It's
right?
the Scum X-Wing, and it has a little. I mean, maybe a date. Old Star, Battlestar Galactica. It reminds me of a Viper.
It does have the Viper silhouette.
It's got that Viper silhouette to me, and so I had a special place in my heart for Battlestar, which maybe this can transform it. And there's not enough ships for Battlestar.
There's
not enough ships.
No, but that's out. There's a game.
I know, but it's not enough ships to make it like X-Wing.
was a game.
Viper was designed by ILM.
Yes.
So
So
it's the
that's
same.
probably why. Okay, there you go. So that's
Yeah.
probably
So
why.
that's
the
why then.
70s show on
See?
TV
It
was
was
the
all
same guys.
that was
The
all
ILM
ILM.
did the ships
Yeah.
for all like the
Yeah, while George Lucas went off to write Empire Strikes Back, the people at ILM did Battlestar Galactica on TV.
yeah.
What?
That's how they kept the lights on.
And it was expensive for the 70s put that on TV. I remember hearing that the budget
big budget show.
wasn't that many
Battlestar was a big budget
episodes, right?
show.
So
Yeah. The music, the score,
Everything
all that
was-
stuff.
the Kirax,
but,
though.
but the Vipers. So Kirax for me, without a doubt.
Talonbane updated
Yeah.
would be really cool.
Well, Scum got hit
Victor Hell, sorry.
hard. Scum lost. I mean, look, what you're looking to reprint is the Scum ship.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it's a Scum ship. So their diversity got destroyed.
I love Scum, so that's like almost, I would even say, my secondary faction. And I'm right with you there. Like when Extended took away all those the library of ships, it was rough because they had a lot of good ships in Extended.
Yeah.
And good pilots you lost
And
too. So.
pilots,
So that's why I think they need a little love, and they need it.
I agree.
Quick. I mean, the Razor Crest was cool.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't like what you were comfortable with, and and the
Well,
Kirax.
it was the new, but it new with the complete library in front of you would have felt even better.
right.
Right?
But for me, for Kirax to take the hit, it was a staple in my lists.
Yeah.
And then it took the hit, and I was just like, I felt like I wasn't playing the same game anymore. So it took me a little while to get used to it, but thankfully the old comfortable fire sprays.
Yes.
is there.
Fire sprays.
Fire sprays.
Fire sprays,
all day,
spraying
every day,
fire.
and now we can put 2 of them on a list.
Hell yeah.
2 chunky boys in there.
Two chunky boys.
Great.
And wait! I got 2 fire sprays and a hawk coming, baby.
I've been working with Dan to
Grievous
cook
is
up
on
some
deck.
lists.
Grievous is on deck.
Grievous is still waiting.
Wait,
Grievous
listen,
is still waiting.
I called in the expert. I was like, if I'm gonna get in,
Hard
As long
luck.
as you're not
Expert.
rolling his dice, I think I have a fair shot.
no, I
That's
agree.
got
You know
a
what?
chance.
You, I 100% correct. All right, so
We'll swap dice.
so I'll have, every now and then
Feel
you'll
the
see
power.
At 2?
No, there'll be a random hand that just comes up once in a while and rolls dice and goes back under the table. yeah.
Either that or he wipes his palm on your forehead.
Oh my
and then
God, it was working.
All of a sudden, you
It
roll
was
hot fire.
working. We gotta
Straight
do that.
crits.
We gotta do that in store. The next
do.
time I'm playing, especially in a league game, come over if we can get that. And I just roll paint. Your legend would just grow even.
Oh my god!
It would
Film
grow
it.
even more.
Film it. Get it on.
legend.
Yeah.
Of KFC.
Well,
K-Toss
I already got
filthy
people.
cheaters.
I got people bowing to me because of Dan's School of Positive Diving.
Yeah.
So if we take that and add it to, your prowess, we could just do
My
amazing
dice
things.
rolling prowess.
Wait. Join me, and together we can rule the universe.
Whoa, wrong faction.
can
Get out of
roll.
here. Get out of here. Get
I'm
out.
sorry. All right, wrong side of the table.
Here's an addendum to that for other question. What ship do you think is never going to get reprinted?
Oh man.
I got it.
There's a running joke about the Star Fortress never getting reprinted.
I have an easy one.
But
I think it will. I think
can
it will because they don't have many options. I think
I know. It's hard to say because I would have thought the Alpha class Starwing, but that's apparently getting a reprint. So
but that's a nice looking ship.
that is a nice looking ship. It's
But
like
I
a
think-
sleeker Lambda shuttle.
I think
so
the look of a ship is important to.
it's a non-Sinar build ship too, so it's out of the frame of like.
Yeah.
Let's give you a contract to
I
make me a ship.
think-
So the quad
and-
jumper's out, right?
There you go. I was waiting for it.
Get rid of
There
that
it
thing.
is.
It's
That-
unfortunate because I like the way it looks like, but I think the TIE Punisher won't get a reprint unless they said it already.
No, they did
No,
not.
didn't.
You don't do the tie.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I agree with Chris. as even though I'm a scum player, the quad jumper is just like
it's got to go.
I hate that
shit so much.
That goes to what Sal was saying. They really scraped the bottom of the barrel because they needed to get ships from the movie.
It's in one shot. It
just blows up.
Let's get on that thing.
Boom.
Like we're gonna get on this piece of junk.
Even the people who pilot it were just random characters that weren't even talked about. In like those handful of scenes.
I think they assumed that they would be flying that because they were in the salvage business. I personally think. I mean, like, is Sabine's tie ever going to get reprinted? There's like 14 different ties out. Or the Ghost Shuttle, the first Ghost Shuttle, is a ship, right?
Yeah. Yes, the attack shuttle is what they call it, or something like that. That's
because they have the second one, like they're never going to reprint that. It's like it's a redundancy of this Phantom 2. You know, I just don't like. Is that something they're ever going to spend money on? I don't think so.
Maybe not.
It wasn't even popular to begin with.
Yeah, they got to make money somehow, right?
When those characters come live action, that's when they'll start.
You want to make
maybe.
Well, you know what? The Ahsoka series and like Sabine shows up in her tie with Ahsoka.
They casted Ezra, didn't they?
They just
did.
Ezra. Yes,
they
Ezra,
did.
So they're coming.
So I mean,
hype train.
I think the other wild card would have been which one was it? The Arc 170 for the Rebels.
Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of already.
You got it. I mean, but those pilots suffer because now you're never going to get those pilots from that. So it's the ones that have like the kind of the bleeds. I don't know. If
well, you know what? Just going back to what I want reprinted again, I totally forgot about my K-wing.
Oh yeah,
the K-wing.
The K-wing.
I love to look at that shit. That looks like a
man.
It just looks like
a Star Fortress.
It looks like a
warship. Yep.
You know, it looks like it's ready for war.
Yeah.
I mean, of all the ships, Imperial ships always look like that because that's
standardized look.
It's a standardized Navy. It's the Imperial Navy.
Yeah. That was the Rebels' answer to something like they're like, we need guns. Slap guns on this thing.
Yeah, because a lot of the Rebel ships look like other than the X-wing. We'll just throw it together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the original movies, A-wings are like, what is that thing? It looks like a bobsled. You know, what can it even do? You know, you didn't even know Y-wings were bombers. Like they didn't look like a bomber.
Yeah.
You know, they say that they're coming in like those.
Rogue One was the first time we see them bomb.
We actually see them, do something like that. But the K-wing looks like this thing's ready to throw down.
It's ready. It's got ordnance.
Yeah.
It's ready to blow shit up.
Right? Yeah, that's what, and it does.
Yeah, it does.
It does, or it did.
And bring back this. I mean, how many ships slam? There's not slam.
And that was that the first slam engine, the K-wing?
Might have been.
I think so.
It might have been.
I think that's when it got introduced, the slam mechanic.
You know, they don't really have.
I forgot about my K-wing, man.
That thing's beef.
Yeah, I mean the only other
extended next week.
Extended is next week. So
K-wings
your week coming in is going to be
I
extended.
got blow the dust off the K-wings.
So you can fly some Ks
or Kirax.
Yeah.
Throw it in there.
Both K
fighters or K-wings, whichever one you want to do.
K-wings and K. All right, here we go. All right, that's good. This is going to be good.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. Okay.
But yeah, slam. There's not many other ships that slam.
Yeah, like the Fireball's the only one that really comes to mind because they're the only ones that have it
in standard.
In standard, yeah. But other than that, nothing really else.
Interesting.
Either way, it looks like the game is I think it's in a much better place than it was.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
4 months ago?
4 months ago, it was a little rough. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys touched upon it here in one of the previous podcasts. Tumbleweeds, for sure.
It really was,
I was trying to keep it afloat then.
Yeah. I still have the problem of teaching, like, when people had asked me to come and give them that demo.
Yeah.
It's like, at some point, I'm like, I really don't know what to teach you. Like, and that's tough. And then the starter set is wrong. Like, I'm really happy for the new starter sets.
Yeah,
we need those. You know what? Speaking of, I'm glad you brought that up. What does the game need right now? The point of entry.
Yes.
It's a little confusing. I mean, we can direct people as veterans, but like someone coming out of nowhere wants to buy some stuff. What do you buy?
Yeah. They're working on it. Just got to get out sooner than later.
Yeah. I think once that starts to once they start to streamline that and get that shipped out, I think it's going to be easier to get people. I mean, we're getting new players still. Yeah. So, we just had a couple of new players start to join up and start to play. But yeah, once that comes in, it's going to be so much easier.
Is Grievous in the starter box?
I mean, I think it's faction specific. I heard. Right?
They're doing 4. Yeah. There's 4.
Right.
Yes.
I'm sure the Empire Rebellion is going to be 1. I'm not sure on the other 2 yet. Are they going to do? Because then Scum's like the weird outside faction pairing. Are they going to go? I think maybe the prequel trilogies were. Yeah. Because I don't know if they'll go sequel trilogy right away and then maybe leave Scum out of that, or maybe they'll just do one Scum and then. But then you're losing the.
I think they've already shown us their hand with Legion, how they're doing faction specific starter sets, and then also go by this starter pack that gives you cards and templates. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, they were giving everybody like the Phoenix Squadron box, and then go buy this starter pack that has templates and regular cards and damage cards. I think that might be might be the way to go. Because then you buy 2 things, you have everything that you need, and you don't have extraneous stuff that you maybe don't. Yeah. It's like I bought the original starter sets, and I could care less about the X-Wing. I wanted the TIE fighters.
Yeah.
I was spending money for plastic that I really
never going to use or did use often.
I mean, I'm like you. I have every ship anyhow, but at the same time, it's not a ship that I flew very often.
Yeah.
It's just better for new players to be a little more focused. I mean, the 2-player starter kind of makes sense, but the smaller focus thing will get more people into it.
You want to play Scum? Buy the Scum pack, and then I'll buy the Republic pack.
Yeah, it should be should be almost a must buy.
Yeah,
I think that's the way to do it.
They also
that's the way to go.
They had said that AMG had said that those starter sets are going to be made to be played against each other out of the box. So new players are going to come in and it's like we're going to be able to. When I open my box, it's geared to play opening against your box. Yeah. But with that in question for you, Ktoff, is how do you feel about now? They've stressed about standardized cards. If people that don't know, that's going to be a ship with the pilot skill and a loadout of upgrades that might not necessarily be doable in a standard or normal build. It might be outside of their wheelhouse for what the ship can hold. Yeah. How do you feel about standardized cards going to be coming into standardized play?
So I think it will be good, especially for newer players, because we're running into a problem now with like the way that the loadout system is. That there's like too much card pollution on the board sometimes. You know, like for instance, like Boba Fett can take like 1,000 cards. 1,000 upgrades. Even like the Y-Wings that I was playing, they have like 1,000 upgrades because they have all these modification slots and talent slots and bombs. So it helps to get rid of the clutter. So I think in that aspect, it's good, especially for newer players. The only thing I worry about is the balancing of it all. Because some of the cards, they seem not that they're broken, but depending on the points,
pricing seems the key.
For it, like they may be broken or they may not be. And then remember what I was talking about with the granularity of how the point system is. Like, hopefully.
Yeah, they give because you look at like Vader, say as an example.
Right.
Why did I choose him? But you look at him, like if you could build the Vader loadout in his TIE Advanced, and then the standardized one has to be cheaper in point wise, because then why would you ever take him? You'd always take the one you could build to the umpteenth and put all this stuff. Yeah. So, but that in its own right can be the problem, because if you don't make it cheaper the same price, why would you ever not build it the way you want?
Right.
When it comes to a veteran player or someone that's played a while, that option. So it's kind of like they have to be cheaper, but then you brought up granularity. I can't even say
granularity.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Granularity. Now I can't make him 7.5 points, or he can't be 6.5 points.
Well, they're coming with these like loadout, automatic loadout.
Yeah, so there won't be any loadout value. It'll just be straight squad points. Yeah. So I mean, nothing seems too broken right now. There's maybe like one ship that looks a little sus, but for the most part, Iden Versio and the Interceptor looks a little sus.
Yeah. Well, the Battle for Yavin is bringing some more of those.
That's what she's in. Yeah, they're gonna have a bunch of them. Some cool Interceptor pilots.
Yeah. So I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay.
I think it's similar to. I equate it to D&D when you're trying to get new people in. The build process,
like a pre-gen character,
could be overwhelming.
Yeah,
so here you go. Here's everything. It's already done.
Done. Take it. Play with it.
And then after you learn the game, you like the game. I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it can be daunting for a new player to come in and like you said, you see the fire spray, and then if you add a crew, or you add a title, which brings even more slots.
Right.
Oh, you didn't have enough slots to fill. Here's another one.
Yeah, I mean, because I see a lot of people, they want to play Boba Fett. They want to put Boba Fett on the table, but then they given all these squad loadout values, and they put all these upgrades on it, and they forget half the triggers because they're just starting out.
That's the hardest point.
To be expected, even when I first started, same way. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard, and it can be frustrating.
Even my refresh games with you, I forgot a couple triggers.
I had to remind you on some of them. Yeah. No, actually, you actually were pretty good about it. I forgot some of them.
I caught two of them.
You caught some of them before even I did.
But I only started catching them because you reminded me that I had them.
Yes.
Right.
So, I would
fix that one, and then I was like, or
I kept going phase by phase. I'm like, do you have anything in the system phase?
Yeah, which I had nothing. And then you just started throwing chaff at me, you bastard. See, I think I was going to forget that, right?
Throwing paint. Just started throwing paint.
Nobody started throwing chaff cards at me.
Hot chaff summer.
Hashtag
hot chaff summer.
Hot chaff summer.
That's the new thing right now.
Is that what that is?
Because chaff missiles are like the new in thing to play now.
Dude, he's just chucking them at me.
Chaff missiles.
And I was like, what? And I'm still kind of new to the new system and a couple new ships
They're
that
in
I
your
haven't even
face. They're,
flown.
they're super wide, so they're in your
Chuckling
face.
at him.
Even when he made, I mean, even before the chaff, we were, planning the game or whatever, and I said, help me out with some list building, and he introduced me to the road class with
Yeah.
campaign,
Campaign.
where we talked about, and I didn't have one. So I'm like, I'll go to the store and I'll just crack one open. And then I get to the store and worst game store owner ever.
Sold out.
Empty slot. I'm like, son of a bitch. I had to call him, blah, blah, blah. So there was that. And then there was the reminding me and then the telling me about rocks. And I just promptly started running into them. And it was just,
Yeah. Welcome to Chief.
But this is a guy that's played the game.
Yeah.
Played the first version. I mean, actually, our first encounter with X-Wing was at Gen Con.
When
When they
first
released.
came out.
introed
We
it.
bought a box.
We've been playing. I technically been playing longer than you. We played like when it was announced. Like,
Yeah.
But
We played on a coffee table in the lobby of the Marriott.
That's awesome.
yeah,
And I was like,
With
what's
my-
this
yeah,
game?
it was
And
you,
me and Danny Boy.
and
Danny
my
Boy
son,
was
yeah.
super young, and I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
this game's crazy.
yeah, my oldest, who
Yeah.
know was the monster, and so was a wee man at the time. But here's the guy that's been playing, and I was still a little overwhelmed. So can you
Yeah.
imagine a new player with all those upgrades and stuff? So
Yes.
those cards, I think it's a good because
I
I'm
think
always.
it's-
I guess maybe my brain has become game store owner, right? So I want everybody to enjoy these
Yeah.
games and play these games, and of course buy these games.
Yeah.
But how do I get them on the table
Yeah.
without because sometimes what is this? Oh, all those rules, all this. And like, do you try getting somebody into Warhammer?
Oh,
If
no.
they don't have any interest, like
The fact
a
that they
lot-
have that big book there, that's
Oh.
daunting to me. Just looking at it,
Yeah.
you gotta read that thing.
and then you got to build them, and you got to prime them,
Yep.
and you got to paint. I mean,
And they don't tell you, Ktoff, that half of it is fluff, and the rules are like,
Yeah.
See, I
like
didn't know that.
literally,
I didn't
know
this
know
is
that.
fluff, and that's rules, and you're like, but you see the book, and it is
Yeah.
daunting,
Yeah.
like
No,
so.
it's fun. I love it. It's
Yeah.
fun, but point of entry is the most important thing to me.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
any game, it's got to be low costed, and it has to be. You want it to be complex because the more complex the game, the more enjoyable it is.
Yes. You
But
want it
if
to have
it's
depth.
if it's too confusing to start, you're gonna lose so many people.
Oh, you won't get
Yeah,
them,
I
yeah.
mean,
You're
like-
not even gonna get them. Yeah.
Sometimes I have to take my competitive mind off of it too, because like especially with like the quick build cards, competitive wise, that may or may not be good. I think it'll be fine, but if you're looking at the general public that want to play, the casual players, it's just perfect for
Yeah.
them. It's just so much easier for them, and
could
that's overall better for the health of the game.
And it could even be its own format if there was so many of them
Yeah.
out. Make a quick standardized format. Like really, the only thing I didn't like about their new Aces High pack when it came out is they were all standardized cards. The problem with that is you're supposed to draft them and take them. Because then how are you supposed to come to Aces High
knowing
with
what
your-
chips to bring?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what ships to bring, and like
bring all
there's
your
supposed to
shit.
be something you play. So like either the store owner would have to have every one of those ships open and built ready to do a draft and have it come out, or you could have picked your favorite ship and done Aces High that way. But they haven't updated Aces High for the new point system if people wanted to play in that format. So maybe that is something that they could make a format when we have a ton of standardized system cards.
Yeah.
It's like you
Oh,
want to do
yeah,
something really
true.
quick, just pull out a standardized card, play, and we go. And
Yeah.
so it could be interesting, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's the speed. We're when you're hungry, right? Like McDonald's is successful because it's like pull up, order, window, pay,
Yeah.
food.
and
games,
fun and fun.
yeah,
You know,
and
it's-
games we just we're hungry. So like sometimes the pandemic, we're still getting over the pandemic in our brains, not so
Yes.
much minus masks. And
Also,
stuff,
just society in general. It's always
more.
More.
instant gratification.
Instant,
gratification.
yes,
Yeah.
especially
Instant
especially here in
gratification.
the United States. That's our big thing.
It's our biggest problem right
you
now.
want it now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it
Yeah.
right freaking now.
That
right?
morphine drip's coming. I'm like,
Yeah. If you can't get more, and then like if say a new game comes out and you get it and it's fun, it's great. I want more.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Where's the
Yeah.
expansion? I want it now.
Yeah.
And then
It takes time,
And then
right?
if which it does, but if it takes too much time,
Then they lose
you
interest.
lose them.
Yep.
You lose them fast, and then there's always another game just knocking on the door, ready to come. And that's an aspect I didn't really realize until you open a store.
Yeah.
And you see all this crap coming in. Which, speaking of opening a store, last question for me is, how did you find me?
Oh, so
How did you find Red Seal Gaming?
We found it was on Facebook somewhere, and now I can't for the life of me remember where. But someone posted, "Oh, they're opening this new store in." Or was it was Perth Amboy?
South Amboy.
South
South
Amboy.
Amboy.
And I'm like, that's only 15 minutes away from my house. So we had already and it was like kind of coming out of the pandemic, and we wanted to play at the table again, but we also wanted to, play in a community and see what was going on there, because we had heard that people were playing X-Wing there. I think it might have been Tage.
Tage posted something?
Tage may have posted something,
So thank you, Tage, for bringing these maniacs to my store.
Yeah, yes. I want to say
I think Baron might have been the first one to show up.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe Baron heard it from somewhere. I can't remember.
We'll have to ask him.
It was social media somewhere. And they were like, all right, let's show up and let's see, let's see what's going on there.
Yeah.
Because we heard that people were playing X-Wing. And then
the funny thing is you guys come, and I have no clue who you are. You just come, you got some X-Wing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, and Sal and I had planned to do demos and whatnot. And you guys, we already know how to play. I'm like, great. And then shortly after, Zach starts rolling into.
Oh, yeah, Zach.
Right? And I think he had played.
He who wears sandals, Zach.
He of the open toe.
He of the open toe.
He of the open toe.
But he had, rolled in too. And, it's kind of like, you could kind of see how it kind of formed up. But you guys come in, you start playing, we start. We hear your names, blah, blah, blah. I think this guy finds out, who you actually are. and Sal's like, dude, those guys are, legit X-Wing. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I was looking at it.
I've seen their crew.
I've seen their crew, and they have a whole thing. And
I see PAX. I remember
KFC, they were at PAX, the GSP, and he's, spewing all these, X-Wing key points of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I got celebrity X-Wing guys in my store.
Hardly celebrity.
And then Sal and I brainstorming all right, we got to keep these guys in the store. They can help me grow this community, and it's a whole X-Wing. And then sure enough, it really did happen.
I mean, you guys made it easy. I mean, Dan, you were so welcoming to us, and just the whole community of you guys, and it's just been fun. It was easy to stay. It was easy not to leave.
Like you said, the community word, it goes back to what we always try to do here first and foremost. And you were looking for it. And, like you said, we had it, but again, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Maybe I give the place and we give the space.
Yeah.
But you guys, and we give a comfortable atmosphere, but then you guys enhance it.
Yeah.
And then we carry that over to the big RSG and at the, the new store and more room, more players, more mats. Next thing you know, the conversation of maybe having a tournament became a reality. Next thing we know, we got 20 people, guys coming up from ECG, guys come
Liberty
Squadron,
Liberty
Squadron, they all
Liberty
showed up.
Squadron,
So thank you to everybody who kind of put us on, you guys helped put us on the map with that.
Yeah.
And then, now we got pretty much every other month we're doing something, a big event,
league,
lots of giveaways.
Third league. We're going to the third league?
This is the third
There's
league.
the third league.
Technically, it's the fourth league.
Yeah, because the first one.
No, it's the fourth. The first one was kind of like a primer kind of league, but we would count
it wasn't official. Now,
but it is.
But the buy-ins.
It's official, but it's not official. But now this is the.
But I love what you guys are doing with it, and I'm actually in this one.
You are
I am
hype.
Calm down.
So
down.
hyped
I'm
right
gonna be OFA. I'm gonna be the most hyped OFA player ever. In the league.
Go for it.
Yeah,
The dream.
Do I get a good draft pick if I finish last? I mean, for next year.
You get a special pull.
I get a
The
special-
bottom guy always gets a special.
Yeah, I
something.
want those smoking boots, baby.
Yeah,
Right?
hey.
Give me those smoking boots prizes.
We're gonna get some. We got some good prize support.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, which the community has. Everybody has contributed.
Yeah.
Sal's bought stuff. You bought stuff. The store bought stuff. Other guys have bought stuff.
Yeah.
Baron and his bro and his wife making stuff. I mean, this is just fantastic how it just happens.
Yeah.
You just be cool, and look what happens.
Yeah, just be cool.
Just be cool, and look what happens. So it's been great.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank you guys because it's also your guys' demeanor in right now in gaming. I've been watching on Twitter. There's all the things about gatekeeping, especially with women in GW games, and there's been this whole outsurge of people gatekeeping, and you guys are great because you guys are so welcoming. I thank you guys for that. And
it
really
adds to the comfortable.
New people come in the community. I think that's what makes the community thrive because I think a lot of people can come in there and they're timid and not really sure.
Yeah.
And then it's dude, come down and play, have fun, and then they see that demeanor and it's infectious. You know what I mean? So I thank you and your Baron and all you guys.
No, I appreciate that.
Huge.
That I mean, I remember when I first started and I wanted to look, and so I put myself in their shoes, and it even happened a couple weeks ago. Two guys, I forget their names now. Sorry, guys, but they were they were just looking. And
I think it was Zach. I think it was Zachary.
Maybe it was, yeah. And I was
Zacks,
I always make it a point to make a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because, then it gets them kind of interested. And, they obviously are interested already because they're staring at you playing.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are interested in X-Wing? Like, yeah, come and watch and take a look. You know, I'm always like, I've always loved like teaching and you know, fostering people and building people up. You know, it's part of like who I am and how I grew up. So, you know, the whole gatekeeping thing just doesn't work for me. I want other people to get better.
We
you know?
personally hate gatekeeping. we gatekeep gatekeepers.
There you go.
I'm extremely happy that you guys are doing what you do because when it comes from me, store owner, they see, oh, he's probably just trying to sell something. I mean, not that I'm like that. I do not push. Matter of fact, I'll say it again. I'm the worst store owner ever. I actually tell people, don't buy that.
Yeah, I've seen you do it multiple occasions.
Do not buy that. Like, come in and play on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Don't even spend that money. You know, a lot of they'll grab the $50 and they'll be happy. No. Put that down. I'm yelling at cuz. Come on Wednesday, play with this guy. Right? Because this guy will make you spend $400 next week. Because he'll make you he'll have so much fun playing the game, and then you'll be buying it because you want to.
Yeah.
Not because you're thinking about it, whatever. Demos are the key to keeping the gatekeeping away, too.
Yeah.
And then past demos, thank you. And then past demos too is you guys take it. I mean, the demo is the easy part. It's the next step of they come with their first list and it's not optimal and they just want to fly, and that's where you could really crush someone and they never come back. Right. That's the more crucial step than the demo, because then they're like. You're guiding them and helping them through to that, you know, that middle tier of player, you know. And then from there they can go where they want. But that early stage, it's like a like a new butterfly, you know. In the early stages of the wings are fragile, right? So like you can't mess with that. They
spent an hour at home building a list. They thought it was cool. Yeah. This is great, and then they come in and
and
you're like, and then you literally crush them. Yeah, and that can't happen.
Yeah,
you know, where we try not to. I mean, we try to lose the first game. Like, you try any kind of game I'm teaching somebody, you try to.
Ktoff can't control his dice, obviously. So
yeah, well, you know what? He kicked my ass 3 freaking times. This son of a.
No, the first one you technically won.
Yeah,
you did.
There's that word. He uses that word a lot.
He won. I will say because we were playing only like a couple rounds each.
So he was up at that point when you stopped.
Well, you know what?
It's a win in my book.
No, it is a win in my book. Because you know why?
He won. It's not technically a win. He won.
You know why? You know why I won? You know how I knew I won? He goes, all right, you want to try the other now?
I'm like, we got to get out of here now. This can't count.
So I knew I won. I was like, all right.
I need my perfect record.
Yeah.
You beat the second place player at Nova.
I did.
So hypothetically, you got first place at Nova.
I did. You know what? Why are you even on the show? That's right.
That math checks out. The math checks out.
That brings me to my last question: is where are we going to see you play X-Wing next? That's not at the store. Like, what are your future goals moving forward?
Events-wise?
Yeah. You do have a Worlds invite,
you got a Worlds invite, right? Let's state that. You got a Worlds invite. Congratulations on that. And not just second place, but a Worlds invite as well.
Where is Worlds, if you don't mind me asking?
It's going to be at Adepticon. Yep, in Chicago.
That's like their new spot. That's like they said that's their new home.
Yeah, that's their new home. Yeah.
No longer Minneapolis. You don't get to go to frozen Minneapolis in January.
Not that Chicago's warm.
It's got to be better than Minnesota.
Yeah, probably.
So we're looking at in terms of big events. PAX Unplugged is going to be the next one. Zach, I know, is on. He's one of the TOs there.
Yes,
Liberty and Mike.
And then Andrew from Liberty Squadron is him and Zach. They're teaming up to do it. Working on trying to make that a Worlds qualifier. So hopefully that goes through.
I saw in the chat there. Keith was saying try and contact them, try and make it.
Yeah,
it used to be the system. It used to be the first system open of the cycle. So that was the reset, and then we go to PAX, and that was the first system open for the next year.
And that's the only really big one in the Northeast area. So to take that away would not be nice.
No.
But so hopefully they can get.
Is the whole crew going?
The whole crew is going.
Oh wow!
Yes,
really?
We already bought rooms and rented rooms and stuff like that. And even like the younger guys, the up and coming guys in RSG, the Ace Abysmal dudes and
Aces Abysmal.
Aces Abysmal.
That's awesome.
Ariana from I think her crew's name is Balls to the Walls. Whatever.
All those
the young crew. They're finally gonna make their.
She brings the heat, man. I'll tell you right now. You know. Speaking of why, I'm glad we don't gatekeeping, because Ariana's one of the female players at the store.
Which you need more of. I mean, it's a game that everyone it's open to everyone, and like I said, without that, you have the opportunity to come.
Some of the best players in X-Wing are female.
Yeah.
Catherine Nishera, Sarah Tessam, right off the top of my head, like constant top cuts, amazing players. So like
future podcasts, female gamers.
Please,
how do we get more?
That
in?
would be awesome.
Yeah,
how did they get in?
Yep.
How, what can we do to facilitate more of them coming? Yeah. We have to stop that from happening.
Yeah, I think WotC's figured it out. Like D&D's been way more that avenues there.
I would agree.
But I think GW is probably the worst case scenario from what I've been hearing. So
the whole crew is rolling deep.
Whole crew is rolling deep.
Cool.
So PAX in I think that's December, first week of December. December.
When is Worlds?
2nd to 4th. That's March 22 to 26 in Chicago.
Chicago.
And then smaller tournaments. I know ECG, small little quick plug. I guess they're doing a charity event in November.
Which they always do. ECG is famous for that.
Is that
the Toys for Tots tournament?
Toys for Tots thing?
Yeah.
Fight against, do you still do a fight against cancer too?
Yeah, so the
fight
Fight Against Cancer one, I think they did earlier before, because I was in that one.
Do we have a date for the ECG event?
I think they said November 19th. I'm not 100% sure.
We'll post it in the
we'll
Discord
definitely post it in
or on the
Discord.
show notes if we figure it out. We
Yeah,
definitely want to help them out.
I think it was
Especially if the
November
RSG crew goes down there
which
and
mostly
participates.
do, yeah. Mostly with those big charity events we do.
That means since I'm in the league now, I'm going to have to go. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, hey,
Yeah.
you're going to be getting your practice in.
You're going to have to go on down.
But yeah, and then maybe sometime in October we'll do a RSG tournament.
Yes, actually, Zach's already.
I know he asked.
I
I didn't know if we could announce stuff right now.
All right. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
So, just to bring that up, it always happens that way. Like, one of you will reach out to me as if you're afraid of me, and I don't understand why.
Is this date clear?
I don't. I
So,
guess I'm.
Daniel,
it's
we're
not
gonna
like
call
I'm
you
an
your full
intimidating.
name.
I'm not an intimidating-looking man. I mean,
No,
I'm old as hell.
Excuse
I'm
me,
bald.
sir.
I'm skinny and potbelly. Why are people so
Can we
afraid?
play X-Wing today?
That's how tough. I mean, all you guys are. And then I talked to one, and then when I just caught you. This is what happens. We kind of talked about it. You can even cheat. Like, we have you on video. You got all sheepish. Like,
I did, yeah. I mean,
talked
because I didn't know what was available.
I don't understand.
and whatnot.
I mean,
I mean, I know I don't want to step on like any other of the game's toes. Like,
no, dude.
MTG
Well, you
has
can't.
their own thing.
You have to let me know.
Yeah.
And then I'll,
that's all
if
we-
it's available, it's yours.
Yeah.
And I tell that to everybody.
I know.
But they get. I guess.
I guess when
don't
it comes
know.
to asking for like, I guess you
don't
could. I would.
They have never
consider it
even
a
seen
favor.
me angry.
It's
and they're
only
afraid of
really
me.
No, never.
It's those pre-release weekends for Magic become like.
Yeah.
Those are the crazy weekends.
Well, yeah.
Like I check those on my calendar. I'm like, when?
Well, I give everybody their due. That's the
You
other
do.
thing, too. Money or no. I mean, granted, everybody knows Magic make money machine go burr.
Yeah.
We all know this.
Yeah.
Right.
No
Big
doubt about
burr.
that.
But Magic has its days, and every other game has its days as well, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. I don't bite.
I know.
And we're glad you found RSG. So that's.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
I'm glad you guys were here.
Yeah, well,
You guys have given us a home.
Yeah, well, that's great. I'm glad you feel that way.
KFC is definitely 1,000% the home of KFC.
And we will be, helping that with some sponsorship from Red Seal themselves. Yeah. I won't say what it's going to be, but you will see it when it's in the works.
Yes.
It's in the works.
We'll be seen at PAX.
Yes.
Frying some chicken, cooking up some stuff.
Frying some chicken. Todd's filthy cheese. I mean, I'm sorry, filthy cows. Whoops, sorry. Yeah.
We'll have to have like a big RSG dinner.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, for you guys are rolling deep, and a lot of the people from the store. I mean, we're the three.
I would
the
love
four
to
of
meet
us.
up.
The four of us are definitely going.
Yeah.
I
remember you guys were the last one. You guys were coming in and checking in on us, and it was nice to have you guys hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah, you guys were like intense.
Yeah, but we hate
so
the.
intense.
I mean, it's tough because we want to show support, but we also don't want to put pressure.
Yeah.
When everybody, like people
I like that.
It's different when other people are watching. When people are watching. That gets worse.
For me, I personally I like that because it feels like you guys are there supporting us.
Support. All right, so you
to
appreciate the
me,
moral
I
support.
appreciate it.
It's
I
not
appreciate you
nerve-wracking.
guys going there
Cool.
and
Well,
showing support.
Don't tell us that.
You're gonna come with
because you want me to bring it.
Pom-poms and
I will be back there.
What was
bring
that?
it.
What was that name? Toffee something?
Yeah.
Toffee
Come
cakes.
on, Toffee Cakes! You got
Oh
this,
my
Toffee
God.
Cakes! Oh,
Jesus
forget it. We can have some fun with it now.
the Emperor and his royal guard
I
might
can
show
see
up.
Tom Traz right now is going, oh, what has he done? They're gonna
Tom Chaz and Baron.
And
they're
Baron,
like,
oh my God, Toph, what are you doing?
What are they doing?
Don't tell them that, Toph, because now they're gonna come with like, we're gonna come with like vuvuzelas.
Vuvuzelas.
The vuvuzelas. Making noise. I'll have the rattle thing like soccer fans showing up.
Yeah.
You know
Big
what I mean?
plastic clock, 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 clock.
Like, yeah. Oh my God.
Let's go, toffee cakes.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
This
Oh
is
my
gonna be
God.
fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Red Seal community will be going because we're all, it's close.
It's
I mean,
close.
it's just so close.
Yeah.
Like I said, we don't have, most of the people that come to the store can day trip it
Yeah.
without having to sleep over.
Yeah.
So,
It's
because
gonna be
hotel
fun.
space
It's
fills
gonna
up
be a good
fast.
time. It's gonna be a good time.
That's good stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Anything else before we let Toph off the hot seat here?
No, I think he's
No.
The
been
Red Seal hot seat.
a fabulous first guest.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. I really
Thank you
appreciate
for
it. Thank you
having
for all you do for the Red Seal and for KFC and for X-Wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank
really
you. I
appreciate it.
appreciate that.
So, and with that, I have to end with my usuals. Never stop gaming.
May all your red dice be crits.
Yes.
And may you
Except
roll
for mine.
may you roll crits without having to melt your dice.
There you go. That's the.
You're going to pay for this. You know, when you're in, when you finally do kick the KFC bucket, the
Satan comes collect.
Beelzebub comes to collect. You're gonna go down, burning.
My soul.
Yes. burn yourself. Thank you as always. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next show. Peace out.